So it's a pretty cold day, and the wind is blowing significantly, up to 45 miles an hour. I think they're considering this blizzard conditions. Don't quote me on that. We don't get the news, so this is just what I've put together from Ryan Hall and different Facebook posts. It snowed a little bit, less than an inch, I think, or an inch or something. And it's blowing the snow quite a bit. It's kind of a nasty day. It's blowing the solar panels around, and well, I have this cover over the generator, and it blew the cover off, so that meant the generator got snow all over it, and the gas got, I don't think anything got into the gas tank can itself, because I always put the gas can underneath that cover. I think we're okay. I don't think there's water in it. I did wake up this morning, and the town was out of electricity. Of course, we don't notice things like that. Now, you could say that we are out of electricity because we're not getting any charge from the solar panels today. But you figure, I run that little bitty, what is it, 1,000-watt generator for 2 or 3 hours. And the batteries are charged. That lasts us all day. I might run it again tonight, depending on, I don't know. I don't think it's going to melt today. Tomorrow, we're going to be back up in 50s. I mean, that's the thing. For the last week, we've been 50, 60 degrees. I was out there doing lawnmower repairs. It's been a beautiful few days, and then yesterday it rained, thunderstorm, lightning. It was like, oh, look at that lightning. I mean, thunderstorms are always dangerous in Missouri, but it was kind of, to me, refreshing. I was like, ah, thunderstorm, that's nice. But today, I mean, it's just, I woke up this morning, and I heard howling. I don't know, a noise. And I thought at first it was the snowplows. But it wasn't. It was the wind just pushing as hard as it can and knocking me over. So I figured instead of trying to fight the wind and getting all the troll channels to complain about wind noise in my videos, that I just stay inside and sit by the fire. I mean, I don't know what more they want. They tell me, you need to use a windsock. But I have a windsock. I mean, when I use a lapel mic, it has a windsock. But sometimes this wind is just wind. Well, you need to have a controlled environment. You need to have a nice studio where you can sit in. Okay, this is an off-grid channel. So you kind of do videos wherever it takes you. So I've talked about the wood stove quite a bit. And I sure do enjoy it. To this day, I still just absolutely, I don't know how to express it. What it feels like to have it. It's a sense of accomplishment, a sense of ownership, pride. I don't know what it is. But there is definitely something about it that I genuinely like. Don't ever have to worry about an electric bill. And we got so much firewood. I mean, Carolyn's been out there splitting it up in smaller pieces. And, you know, I keep thinking she's going to get tired of doing it. But she just keeps doing it. And brings in a wagon full at a time. We got that little wagon that we pull around that we bought when we first got here. She fills it up, brings it in the house, and it fits right. It's kind of nice. The wagon comes over the bridge, onto the porch, and right into the house. And you can unload it right in here. That was just accidental. That just happened to work out pretty good. So today I was supposed to be working on the chainsaw, and I considered doing it in the camper, but with the new channel, the Shade Tree Lawnmower Mechanic, I really want to keep it under the shade tree as much as possible. And doing it in the camper I thought was kind of cheating. So I was going to just skip today because of the blizzard. But then the lady wrote me and said she was wondering when the chainsaw would be done, which I don't understand, because last Friday I told her that what the problem was, and I was going to order a part. It was going to take a week to get the part. So it'd take a week plus, time to work on it. So I thought she realized it was going to be, a week and a few days. But today she said, when's it going to be done? So then I was thinking, well, maybe I should just go out in that camper and go ahead and do it without the video. But Carolyn convinced me, no, don't let them push you. You've got your plan in place, and you start pushing your plan, you're going to mess up and break things. So I'll just wait on the chainsaw. Then I got that riding mower out there, and he says, now I just did a whole service on it, and actually, you'll see the service in today's video. If you'll go over there at the end of this video, click the up next box, it'll take you over to that new video. And I did the complete service. And then in the video after that, which will be, let's see, that'll be Thursday's video. And then Monday, I changed the belts on that one also. So it's a kind of a two-part series, but I'm not trying to do these part 1, part 2s. I've never liked doing that. I hate it when I have to find the next video. Let's say 3 years from now, somebody's looking at that video and it says part 1, and you're like, okay, where's part 2? And you got to go scrolling back 2 years to find part 2. So I tried to make each video unique, where you don't need the other video to know what's going on in this video. And that's what I did with that video. The service video, I put it all together. It was all a service video. And then the very next video, it was just all belt replacement video. So even though it's the same machine, I was able to break it up enough that you won't even notice it's 2 different videos. Or same lawn. Well, you'll know, as a subscriber, you'll know it's the same lawnmower, but 2 different... it's just 2 different scenes and 2 different repairs. So anyway, he says that the machine won't shut off. After it gets hot and you turn the key off, it just sits there and continues, blah, 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 it keeps running. I cannot replicate that. I've ran it for 15 minutes just a few minutes ago. Can't get it to replicate, but it is surging, which he did not say was an issue. Now, of course, after the winter time, people leave that gasoline in the carburetor. That stuff can start to crystallize and cause clogging in the carburetor. So what I've done to see if we can get it to run any better is I ran through some seafoam through it. I'll check it again tomorrow and see if it cleans up. If it doesn't clean up, then I'll have to either clean the carburetor or replace the carburetor. And this one's going to be a little bit more intense because it's a twin cylinder, 2 cylinders. V-twin is what they call it. And so you got that intake manifold for both sides. So it's just more work. Thing is again, he's pressuring me. See, that's the thing. Nobody's cutting grass or anything, but he wants it on Saturday, and I told him I will try to get it by Saturday, depending on what's wrong with it. You know, I did the service, but he wants me to figure out what this problem is with it not shutting off correctly. I said, well, I can't test it tomorrow, which is the day after I talked to him, and because it was going to be raining all day. And I didn't want to take his mower out in the rain. Well, then it's snowing today, but I figured that's not a big deal. It stops snowing long enough I could go out there and run it for 15 minutes. And there's that surging. So it's just going to take what it's going to take, especially if I have to order a part. So, I mean, we talked about it. It's not like that I was holding anything back. Wanted to get it serviced first and then would look into that problem, which is what I told him. Called him up and told him exactly what I was doing. And the thing is so I picked it up Monday. I worked on it all day Monday. Got it all serviced up. And at the earliest convenience, I was able to test it to see what was wrong with it. So like I said, seafoam may clean it up. It's seafoam has a tendency to dissolve that stuff if you let it set overnight. So what you do is you dump that seafoam in the gasoline. Let it, and I try to put more in it than what it recommends. Let it run until that gas can get into the carburetor. And then you shut it off and let it soak overnight. And it usually will break it up. I've had some luck with it in the past. And it's just slight surging. It's not real bad. But if it's not going to work, we'll have to fix it. And like I said, we got that chainsaw. That needs a new carburetor. That should be... I got the carburetor. It came in yesterday. But like I said, it was raining so much. Well, no, that's not the reason I didn't work on it. The reason I didn't work on it was UPS is terrible. They'll... I think I even said this in yesterday's video. On parts, you know, I'll order a tool that, you know, I may use next month. Don't really need it. Or carburetor cleaner, that's the one I always order. I order that on a regular basis, so I always have 3 or 4 cans laying around, and then I order some. So when I start to run out, more will come in. Well, they'll deliver that the next day at 8 a.m. But then when you got this part that you need, and it's every time, I don't think it's ever happened where the part came in early. They'll tell you, they'll send you an email and tell you, okay, your package is going to be here in between 10 and 12. And at 12:15, they'll tell you, nope, it's not going to be here. It'll be here sometime today. Well, see, I signed up for UPS, so I can track them through the GPS system. And a little truck traveling around on the map, you see it moving around. So I knew he took a lunch break at 12 o'clock. There was no way it was going to be here. So it didn't get here till 3. So there was no way I was going to work on it that late. But like I said, I just find it curious that people will expect you to have things earlier than what you've already promised. And it's not like we just talked over the phone on the chainsaw. We've been messaging. So all she has got to do is go back and see, oh, a week. Yeah, that's right. I mean, she wasn't upset that I said it was going to. Well, the thing is when you work on a chainsaw, you want it, or any 2-cycle engine, you want it to sit overnight because you want to get the diaphragm to hydrate. You figure they've been sitting around in a warehouse, the carburetor has. So you put the new carburetor on, you get the gas into it, you adjust it so it runs correctly. And then that over 24 hours, the diaphragms hydrate and it changes the adjustment. So you want to be able to adjust it the next day. You want to be able to run it 3 times without having to make an adjustment is the key. You know, you cool it off, start back, cool it off, start back up. But you want that 24-hour period so it has time to rehydrate. So I told her Friday, and she said, okay, that's great. So I don't know, just strange. So like I said, we're sitting here in front of the fire. You know, I talked about this a lot, and people don't seem to understand what I'm talking about. This is a moisture tester. And we moisture test our firewood. And you want it 20% or less. This one's so dry, it's not even registering. I guess I need to find one that'll register. Okay, this will kind of show you. The thing has been sitting, so this one says 7.2% moisture. Now, realize it's split, it's been sitting by the stove for 2 or 3 days. So when you want to check your moisture, you're going to want to split this and check inside right away, instantly. You don't want to wait because, like I said, it just dried out. And you want it below 20% moisture content. Now, most of ours is probably in between 10 and 15. But some people seem to think that that also means that you can't be out in the rain. And I'm going to be honest, I don't completely understand the science. I can guess what they're saying, but rain does not affect the moisture content of the firewood. What we're trying to do is season the firewood. Remember, the tree is sucking up moisture all its life. And then you cut it down in the fall time. Well, you want to cut it down in the fall time specifically because the moisture is kind of retreating out of the tree. That's why the leaves fall off. They dry up and fall off because there's no moisture getting to them. If you cut it down in the springtime when moisture is just flooding that tree, it's going to take longer for it to season than if it does if you cut it in the fall time. Significantly longer, actually. And they say if you decide to cut the tree down in the springtime, what you should do is let it sit there until all the leaves fall off of it. Because as it's dying, those leaves are trying to suck up the moisture out of the tree. So that will draw some of the moisture out, although it's not as much as it does in the fall. Because in the fall, the tree is actually excreting the water back into the ground, is my understanding. So when you cut the log, then you split it and you let it sit for a year or two. With oak and hickory, you should let it sit for 2 years. Then all that moisture inside the log evaporates, goes away. So that's called season. You're seasoning the log. But when it rains, the rain doesn't affect it. Yeah, the outer part of it, this is going to get wet. You bring it in here, let it sit for a day next to the wood stove. It dries right up. It has no effect inside. As a matter of fact, if you had a piece of wood that was rained on and you threw it in there and it was still wet, the moisture would quickly dissipate off of it, and you probably wouldn't even get that much creosote because it would burn off because the rest of the wood is dry. It was just that surface that needed to burn off, so you probably wouldn't get much creosote from it. It would be harder to light because it's wet, but I don't think, now I'm not saying you should do it. What you don't want to see when you put your wood in the fire is it bubbling out on the ends. If you see water bubbling out on the end, then you know that you have moisture inside the firewood. And you see it all the time. And what will happen is you'll see that bubbling will start to splatter right on your window. It'll stain it, and it'll be tough to get off. But when it's dry, you don't necessarily have to clean your chimney. There's no creosote going up in the chimney to cause a fire. If there's no water, there's no creosote. A lot of people will burn it really hot. The creosote will accumulate in there, and then they'll get a fire. They're burning it, is what they're doing. They're risking a house fire. So I get trolls all the time. You need to cover your firewood, you lazy little piece of... and you know what they're saying. I'm not being lazy. I'm just have decided that it's not worth the time, the money, all of it, to cover it when it's really not hurting anything. As long as you split your firewood, we have noticed that if you don't split it, the outer portion of the firewood, right underneath the bark, will start to rot a little bit. But when you split it, that doesn't happen. The bark, I've noticed, holds the moisture in longer, and it does cause some rotting. Well, that's kind of what was going on around here. So again, if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you over that other channel, and we'll be servicing a Cub Cadet lawnmower. So hope I can inspire you to have a snow day so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.